This is Valerie Van Boeven with the Senior Care Industry Netcast, where leaders with 3 or more years in the senior care industry share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes, so let's get to it. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name is Tami Anastasia. I'm an Alzheimer's and dementia consultant and educator. I also have my own private dementia consulting practice called TAMS, Dementia and Support, Alzheimer's Dementia and Support. And I provide one-on-one caregiver strategy, support, and guidance. I also facilitate 3 Alzheimer's dementia caregiver support groups, and I also provide monthly educational webinars.
That keeps you very busy.
Yeah, it really does. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, and then having said that, what is the best thing about serving not just the aging adults, but their family members and caregivers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I feel is the best thing is I kind of have to answer that a couple ways. One is the relationships I establish with the seniors as well as with the family members. And the other thing that is really amazing to me is the remarkable people I get to meet and learning about their experiences and the wisdom they share with me. And then the third thing I really enjoy the most too is now figuring out, given the personal information that I've collected, how to make both the person with dementia and the caregivers' lives more quality of life. That I can provide techniques, strategies, or come up with care plans that enhance or improve the quality of life for the person with dementia and also for the families caring for someone with dementia.
Very nice. I mean, your services, you need to clone yourself about 500 times because there couldn't be enough Alzheimer's coaches, mentors, people who help these caregivers. This is definitely one of the hardest roles that a human will ever have to play in their life is caring for another human, whether it's a spouse or even caring for a child with, some issues or caring for a parent. So
right. And the adult children, you have so many role reversals that are involved that just the journey itself on both ends is so incredibly taxing and so incredibly demanding and challenging. So I just try to see what I can do to make it a more meaningful, compassionate, loving journey for both and everybody involved.
Well, thank you for doing that. Like I said, we need 500 more of you, or probably even more than that in this world, helping our families, because it is a big role, a big set of shoes to fill when you are introduced to having to do this. So, all right, so let's change gears just for a second, and I want to ask you about online marketing. Now, I'm going to imagine that you do a lot of online mentoring and coaching, especially right now. We hear that online marketing is challenging, confusing, and ever-changing. We know it's ever-changing. What has been your experience or your thoughts, especially right now when in-person stuff is a little more challenging to do or maybe impossible in some cases?
Well, I hate to admit this, but I am going to tell you the truth is I've avoided the online marketing like the plague prior to COVID and sheltering in place occurring, because I've always been a firm believer. It's the connections you have with people physically. When I do my speaking events, it's meeting them in person. So I've actually had to change my mindset, and I'm a little bit slow, but I am starting to embrace what I need to do, because with COVID and sheltering in place, things have changed dramatically. And now I see that I have to now market myself. So I'm just sort of right in the middle right now. I'm just working on a few projects, trying to possibly get started with Facebook Live. Possibly I would like to have my own YouTube channel eventually here so I can provide the educational information and get it out there. And then eventually I'd like to do some online classes, because going out now physically is probably going to be at least a year away, maybe even longer, maybe shorter. But now I've embraced the internet world and having to market online. So as far as I'm concerned, if I just stay focused on what my mission is, what my purpose is, what my message is, and the educational work, I think it's going to fall into place as I learn what I need to learn to make it happen. So I don't have a lot of issues with it right now, other than I've always been scared to death of it. And now I have to embrace it, which is what I'm learning.
You know what? It can be a lot of fun. It's definitely a different mindset. I would say you probably hit the nail on the head with doing some Facebook Lives, and even in Facebook groups. If you have some caregiver groups or you start some caregiver groups, being live in those groups, and Facebook is changing. You know, they're allowing more people to join you at the same time, sort of like Zoom. We can have several different people on here at the same time. Facebook's making some changes to allow groups to be on together, and in small groups. But holding a support group online or whatever it is you're doing, I think that probably would resonate really well with your market. And then the other piece of advice somebody gave me one time is, if you're going to do Facebook Lives, always announce it a couple of hours in advance, maybe a day in advance, but then a couple hours in advance, and try to go live the same time each time. So if it's always at 6 o'clock in the evening, go live always at 6 o'clock in the evening, so people kind of just know to expect, just like a TV show is always at the same time every day.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, I'm getting educated, and I've got some people helping me behind the scenes.
Good.
And I have so much content that now this will be a really nice way to deliver it and convey it to people, and hope that it makes a difference, that they learn something that's going to make a difference. So I am embracing it. I'm just a little slow, and I'm still a little young behind it, but I'll get there.
That's okay. You know what? It's a new world for a lot of people right now, and trying to just work your way through it slowly is okay, because everybody else is doing the same thing. It's slow but sure.
Yeah.
All right, back to your wisdom on seniors and senior care. I would imagine that in your career, your lifetime, there have been other people, maybe successful leaders, organizations, just people in your life who have made an impact or maybe been a mentor. Is there anybody you'd like to talk about?
So, you know, I have to kind of break it down in a couple different ways. Personally, I do believe my parents are very much responsible for the person I am. And then now, maturing from there, when I was in graduate school, I had two professors that actually took me under their wings and really pushed me to my fullest potential. They saw, as they would say, some gifts in me, and really, really wanted me to excel. So I pursued a lot of things, and I would say, you know, that's my past. And then from a personal growth standpoint, I don't know, you might be too young, I'll age myself, but I don't know if people remember Leo Biscaglia, but he was a very popular personal growth. So I embraced a lot of what he had to say to continue working on myself personally. And I still apply those concepts. And I would say now in the senior industry, as I've gone through the different transitions in my life, there are some colleagues, lots of colleagues I work with that make a difference. But there's two that really do stand out. Dr. Elizabeth Lansberg is a geriatrician in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm from San Jose, California, and she makes house calls. And I just feel there's so much that I've learned from her, just from a medication and behavior standpoint. And then someone also in the field before I got into the field has been my mentor and advisor, is a geriatric care manager named Randy Smith. So I kind of credit them for kind of nurturing me along in this industry. And we our services complement one another. But I would definitely say it takes more than one person. It's a collective whole, but there's a few people that sort of stand out who really kind of have an impact.
Well, thank you. I think, you know what, having done, I don't know, lots and lots of these interviews at this point, I think Geriatric care managers are our best kept secret, and
Yeah.
they really, it's something I think families need to know about more. I know they've changed from geriatric care managers to life care managers, and but I believe that group of professionals, and coming from a background where I did some care management, but just hearing these interviews and hearing people give a shout out to local care managers that they've worked with, I can say that that is definitely something that I hope more people learn about, is that a care manager can really make a difference in the life of
Oh,
a family from so many perspectives. Hooking them up with a resource like you,
mhm.
or the right home care agency that they
Right.
trust, or the right assisted living facility. It's a wholeness of their work, not just one specialty necessarily, but all the things that they can do. So
Yeah,
I
and from
agree
a
with you.
caregiver, the family caregiver and the families, I mean, they can help navigate the system, right? They can
Yeah.
help take over and control. And the geriatric care managers, they have a wealth of knowledge and experience in so many different areas. But I definitely agree. They're kind of a kept secret that we just need to expose more and more people
Yeah.
to, because it'll take the stress off of the family in many ways,
Yes.
especially if you have a spouse and no family is in town and you're by yourself taking care of a spouse. I often refer those clients to have a geriatric care manager, because if something happens to them, what's going to happen to the person they're caring for who has dementia? And this person can be their advocate if they're in the hospital or something happens to them.
Yes, and advocating, and they're such good advocates for their
Yes,
clients and their
yes,
families too. So
definitely.
yeah, definitely. It was so nice to hear you say that that's someone who's made a difference for you and an impact. And I've heard that a lot lately, and I think that's
Yeah,
something that everybody should just look at, is who is your local care manager. There's probably a group. I know there's a national website you can find
yeah,
somebody. So
yeah.
anyway, thank you
Yes,
for
you're
talking
welcome.
about that. All right, let's see. What piece of advice would you give to senior care providers out there?
So I'm going to kind of give more than one piece of advice. I've got
That's
kind of a
okay.
few things.
That's okay.
First of all, stay educated and get connected and stay connected. There are some remarkable people in this profession that make a difference on so many levels. So I would definitely stay educated, get connected, stay connected. Also, I think you need to believe in yourself and believe in your passion. Believe in what you're passionate about, because that is going to be a natural skill and gift that you're actually going to bring to whatever service you provide. And then I'm also going to say, don't compromise your morals and your values. There's so much elder abuse that's out there right now. And the reason I say don't compromise your morals and your values is because your reputation and your integrity, your hard work is going to pay off. It's going to be acknowledged in time. And I think you have to really, truly just be true to yourself, and everything else is going to fall into place. So those are kind of my three advice, pieces of advice.
I think those are great pieces of advice. I think everybody's moral compass in this business needs to guide them for sure, and staying passionate about what you do.
Well, and
Remembering, yeah,
yeah, and it's
remembering what
so
you do.
easy to get distracted, and it's so easy to doubt yourself. And there's so many things that may look like opportunities, but I think here again, don't compromise those morals and ethics, because again, your reputation, your integrity, your work ethic is going to, and your expertise is going to speak for itself.
All right, my last question is, when you have a win in life, and that could mean anything, could be graduations, birthdays, weddings, new babies in the family, or whatever it is, when you have a win in life, how do you like to celebrate?
So that's an interesting question, because I tend to be a private person. So I will always acknowledge it and congratulate myself. And then if other people are involved, I will always, always thank those people who had a part in it.
Mhm.
And then I usually will do something celebratory, mostly probably by myself. In the old days, I would go out and take myself out to dinner, or go have an ice cream and do something just to acknowledge it. But if it is something that I think will benefit other people, make their life better, improve their quality of life, make them feel better about themselves, if it's something significant that I think is purposeful and useful to other people, then I will pay it forward. I will like to share if there's some skills or anything that maybe I've accomplished that I think could help others, then I like to pay it forward.
Oh, that's great. Paying it forward is always a nice thing to do and a great way to celebrate. So we've had so many different answers, everything from vodka martinis to taking a walk in nature and dancing in the living room to paying it forward. Now that's our first time someone's really, I mean, everybody kind of maybe alludes to that, but that's a good one. Paying it forward is always super nice. Well, I want to thank you for doing the show, for being on here. You did a great job. And
well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We'll get this out to everybody. We'll make sure they have a way to see your website and ask questions if they have them. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Take
All right.
care.
You did it. Woohoo!
Yay. Yay. All right. Yay.
All right. So
we got through it.
Yes, you did.